Entre le boulevard Saint-Germain et le boulevard Saint-Michel.
Il faut commencer là, non? Il faut commencer là où tu commences.
Je vais te dire où il faut aller. Tu vois la rue Suget?
Oui.
Tu vois la rue de l'Éperon?
Oui.
Tu vois le passage Mazet? Un jour, je me suis trouvée dans un endroit magique et je ne l'ai jamais retrouvé. There was in that time a lot of couple where the girl at the beginning was working when the man was not, because the man was going to make something important. But the guy was especially against work, I must say, and I did not care. So, as the novels, which now are considered like a milestone of the situationistic entreprise, they are in a way for different reasons, but they have not been written for that. They have been written because I was extremely not well paid in la maison d'édition, in the publishers, where I was the secretary of the secretary of press and com, you would say maintenant. So, as I absolutely needed some margarine in my broccolis, because the end of the month was too painful, and Guy, of course, was doing nothing. Well, he was doing a lot of things, but nothing to have some money. So I said to Guy, I see enough little novels passing in my hands, you know, which are written seriously. I can write one which will be taken immediately by any publisher. See, if you take all the little novels of that time, it's always a story of love, you know. If it is Sagan, Poirot Delpech, the best, Guimard or anything, it's somebody who loves somebody who and so and so. It's not me. Bon, I could not do that because I did not think like that. The first thing is that for a situationist, writing a novel, bourgeois activity, it had to be a joke. So I decided a bit for that and a bit because I am lazy, to take the story of Les Liaisons Dangereuses de Laclos, more or less. I had made an anti-novel. It's an anti-novel in a way, you know. Of course, in my book I have put all the things which are cliché. I mean, they are on the Riviera, they have a big car, they go in the sun and so. The proper novel of a young writer is to write about people who are not happy and who have a story. And I write in the book, I like people who are happy and who have no story. I suppose that I would have a bit of money, but not a lot. I never thought that it would be a big sale. So I was totally free to make some private jokes, because I was writing, and when I was writing, Guy was in the other side of the door, and he was my cherished Guy Debord. The street of Paris in that time for me were one of the things that I did like the most in life. So I put them in my book. And I love the 5th and the 6th arrondissement of Paris. And no, I don't work in there, but I still know them, I think, stone by stone. I think that if I was 20 now, I should have things that I love very much, of which they will say in 50 years of late that, alas, Paris is no more what it was in 2021. It's like that. You have that in Baudelaire, you have that in every writer. There is a very beautiful poem of Baudelaire, Le Cygne, where he says La forme d'une ville change plus vite, hélas, que le cœur d'un mortel, and where he is so sad because something has been changed around the Louvre and so and so. So in La Nuit, it was a bit in the shape of a nouveau roman, but as a matter of fact, the writing of it is more to my taste sometimes. I was carried away in La Nuit because when I read it now, I think that some things that are not like Robe de Riez so and so, but they are rather well written, I must say. I mean that there are things that I love to have written in La Nuit. Do remember that was the time when everybody was crazy about the films of Carnet and Les Visiteurs du Soir, for instance. I mean the couple of Carole and Gilles. Well, sometimes it's a joke, of course, when I put them like Gilles et Dominique and so and so. It's Gilles and Dominique in Les Visiteurs du Soir, Arletty and Cuny. Because of course they are walking, they do not have horses or anything. That's only in their mind. But they feel like Gilles and Dominique. Gilles et Dominique, Dominique et Gilles. Le diable est bon pour ses enfants quand ils sont bien obéissants. You remember the song? Souvenez-vous-en, souvenez-vous-en. La dérive is only not to go straight to something, but take the other way and see what happens. It's in the way you use the tone. But of course, Paris was a very good thing to do that. If you use it as a labyrinth, it is one. If you don't, it is not. We were never lost. We were playing to be lost, but we were never lost. There was a moment when I stopped walking a lot because of my back, so walking a lot was no more my thing. But with my bicycle, yes, I have continued all the time to take the other way, you know. So idea of the labyrinth is a beautiful thing. I am not James Joyce, and I am not Marguerite Yourcenar. For that you have to have a strong need to do something. I was always very good in writing, but it's not a vocation. It's not. It's a pleasure. It's only a pleasure. It's a great pleasure when I do it. I was involved in the beginning in a very on the left group, rather on the artistic mind. And after that, it became so political, so that, and they were so young, and they were not artists. They were going to be a revolutionary sociologist or something like that. Then he said to me, as with Asderion, "Okay, you quit, but you stay clandestine. You are still with us clandestine." That's why in '68 I was quite useful, especially for cigarettes. I had a bike. There was no car. There was nothing, and there was no cigarette in the center of Paris. And to have some money for the one who had no more trousers after the barricade, that was to, with my bike, to go to the suburbs and to find small tobaccos where there were still some cigarettes and to bring the cigarettes to the friends. What shall we do to make the Sorbonne more revolutionary? Immediately somebody says, "Yes, camarade, we shall paint the roof in red." 68 at the very beginning was a revolt against the, how do you say, the rope of decent morals, and after that it began to be something more, because in the same time, and we have to, and people have to know that, in the same times things were happening all over the place, especially in the States, which had nothing to do with the situationists, but which were just like brothers in a way, because when the code of decency and rigid morals and stupidity is preventing the people only to breathe or to speak normally and so, of course there is an explosion. When I quit, it was because the situationist group was changing in a way which was not mine. But personally, I think that I am still exactly the same. Yes, I have changed a lot because in that time, did I believe in the Great Revolution, in the big evening? Not so much, not so much. But of course, if I have changed a bit, that's because the world has showed me that after the SSSR, but after Cuba, after Africa, after Algeria, a violent revolution, mostly the result is something a bit totalitarian and worse, if possible, than the part to which that they wanted to suppress. So maybe with age and experience, I have become more confident in big reforms, which have to be made by the violent thinking and not the violent action of mostly the young generation, because that's their job and they do it very well, because the world is slowly going to the right and the youth is breaking to the left in the same way, in the same time. So it's necessary to be rather radical in your thinking. But in a way, I think that Guy Debord was rather like that. I thought that we were the best, the situationists, absolutely. But I never thought that there will be that bubble of media as there was after about Guy Debord and everything like us. Now they know the life of Guy Debord and my friends better than I remember them. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now if I want to know what Guy said or did that day, there are 2 or 3 people who can tell me better than I do, and I have a good memory, but there are some people who know his life. And he has made everything for that too, because he has written a lot after about himself too, At the beginning, when the books began to arrive, I was rather upset when there were some things which were so obviously against the truth, coming from ignorance or for anything like that. But after a while, that would be as if an Eskimo was upset by the ice, And when I was younger, so when I was 18, it was 50, and the first war, 14-18, was something like 30 years before us. For me, it was another world. So imagine to what extent it is another world for the people who are writing about us now, because they have my great understanding, because it's so far away in the time. How could they be accurate, really? Some are more accurate than others. Some are so distant, very not accurate. But in each of them, mostly, I find something accurate and something which is not. I did not write Ne travailler jamais. In a way, I am rather pleased to have worked all my life, because if I had been properly idle, I should have been situationist and only situationist. And I should have known only the situationist people, and that's not enough for me. I am extremely happy to have known a lot of people outside the situationists.